in ISA 315 again, and we're going to the exact same paragraph as before, but our focus now is on the internal control section. We're on understanding the components of the entity system of internal control, and I've highlighted some of the application paragraphs. We'll look at all the applications together. So it says the first component is the control environment. We have to understand the control environment, how management's oversight of their responsibilities are carried out, the independence of the oversight of their system of internal control, the assignment of responsibility, how they attract and develop and retain competent individuals and hold individuals accountable. So everything about that environment, the culture, the atmosphere that is created by management. Then the risk assessment process, the entity's risk assessment process. How do they go about identifying business risks and then addressing those risks? But those will be the control activities. Then monitoring the system of internal control. How do they go about identifying if there are deficiencies in the controls? Then addresses the information system. Remember guys, we are not looking at computer information system. We want to know from a manual perspective how the information flows through the entity system from initiation to recording to processing until it's reported in the financials. The accounting records form part of this. Financial reporting process forms part of this. And the IT, which we won't look at now. And then the control activities. So the controls over significant risks, the controls over journals, controls that we intend to test, we need to go and understand. And for each of these, we want to evaluate whether it addresses the risk. Again, I'm not going to address IT risks, but then you need to be aware of deficiencies within that cycle. Any control weaknesses in the system need to be identified. Okay, let's go have a look at the A paragraphs. So from paragraph A90, guys, they do note here that Appendix 3 further describes the system of internal control. You guys can go and have a look and read through that. But the detail that I want to address is here in the application paragraphs. Okay, so it says you have to understand the nature of the components. And it says that understanding the control environment, the risk assessment process, and the monitoring of controls is more likely to affect the identification of risks at the financial statement level. And understanding the information system and the control activities is going to help with the identification of risks at the assertion level. Okay, and so these three that address the risk at a financial statement level are indirect controls. So they are not there to prevent or detect or correct misstatements at the assertion level. They support the controls that do that, which are the information system and the control activities. So the control environment influences the effectiveness of controls in other components because it is the environment created. Okay, and if there are any deficiencies, it will affect the preparation of the financial statements, but may not be at a specific area. It could just be in totality. So we have to understand the control environment through inquiries and other risk assessment procedures. We want to maybe find out if they've got a code of conduct. Observing how management acts will tell us what their control environment is like. We need to understand their risk assessment process, understanding how they identify business risks. And it just notes there that not all business risks are risks of material misstatements in the financials, but most will actually affect the financials. Okay, and when we evaluate their risk assessment process, it will help us to identify risks. We need to understand how they monitor the internal controls, and then the information system and the control activities. These are direct controls. They prevent, detect, or correct misstatements at the assertion level. We can pinpoint which balance or transaction is affected by the information system and the control activities. So we have to understand the flow of transaction in the information processing activities in terms of the preparation of the financial statements. And this will help us to identify risks at the assertion level for the specific balance or transaction. So in doing this, we have to understand the policies for information processing and the control activities. So understanding the information system, once again, you can go and have a look at Appendix 3, but I'm just addressing what is here. You would have to ask people who are involved in the initiating, the recording, the processing of transactions, looking at policies, observing the procedures, and actually walking through a transaction and seeing how it's done. Guys, these are what we call risk assessment procedures, which we're getting to next. But by them including it here, it tells you what you need to understand. Okay, so this is how we would get the information, but what is the information we need? How they initiate and record transactions, what their policies and manuals are, okay, and how they perform their procedures. And then the control activities, these are focused on the information processing controls because they're there to make sure that transactions are complete, accurate, and valid. So they occurred and they were authorized. And examples of control activities: authorization, reconciliation. They've included verification, but guys, these are IT controls, so we'll get there. Segregation of duties, your physical or logical controls. So your logical, once again, IT controls. Your physical are your access controls. And then these include safeguarding of assets. So your access controls for assets or your access controls for source documents. And then if we identify a significant risk, we'll look at significant risks next week, we need to understand the controls that are in place. And we need to understand the controls that are in place to address fraud risks. Okay, when it comes to testing controls, again, we're going to get to this at a later stage. But generally, we want to test routine controls over large volumes, controls over the preparation of system-generated reports. I've just put this in so we can see. But if there are deficiencies in any of the indirect controls, it will affect direct controls. Okay, Appendix 5, IT controls, we'll get to when we do IT. All of this is your IT controls. And then evaluating the design and implementation of the control activities, we need to evaluate this to determine if there are risks. Okay, and what are the procedures we do? We inquire, we observe, we inspect the reports to see that the controls have actually been implemented. Okay, obtaining audit evidence over the implementation of a manual control does not provide evidence about the effectiveness of the control at other times. So just to be aware that if you're only going to get evidence of a manual control at a point in time, sorry, that was very important piece I missed out, then you will have to test additionally. That's in testing. Please, we'll get to testing. Okay, and then if there are deficiencies in controls, these would exist if you can see that there is fraud or there's inadequate processes in their reporting and communication. If there were deficiencies that are still there and they were previously reported. Okay, so this gives us a little bit more about what we need to do with the information, but it tells us a little bit about the internal control components. So you need to use this in conjunction with the slides to make sure you're comfortable with what it is we need to know about internal control so that we can start to identify risks. All right, let's go and do the business cycles now.